Hello, Namaskar, Vanakkam. My name is Sudhir Sahasranaman and you're watching CBSE with Sudhir. We will be doing the entire social science syllabus for class 8 in separate explanation videos in English and in Hindi. So अगर आपको हिंदी में समझना है तो please look at the playlist done in Hindi. Okay, it's in the same playlist but the videos are put next to each other. This is part 1 of the rise of the Marathas, chapter number 3. The first explanation video, we'll be doing it in 2 parts. Now, it starts with an interesting quotation by Ramachandra Pant Amatya. Now, the interesting thing that is said in this particular quote is that there were a lot of merchants who were coming into India at that point in time, especially from Portugal, from England, from Holland, from France, right? From Denmark. They were all coming there to conduct trade. Please remember this. But they were not like other merchants. And that is what is worrying. That was what was standing out. Because all these European people who were coming in the guise of merchants, they were looking like, oh, they only want to buy stuff from here or sell stuff in India. But their real intention was to enter the land, increase their territory, and propagate their religion, which is essentially Christianity. Obstinate means being very stubborn, okay, being very rigid. And the navy, the battleships, and gunpowder, that is artillery firing, they were their chief weapons. So this was basically what he was saying, is that in the guise of traders, in the guise of merchants, all these people are coming and entering India, but they are dangerous people because their real intention is to propagate their religion and increase their territory. And he said that their traffic, their entry should be controlled and they should not be allowed to build strong foundations in India. So this was like a warning which was given, what is called in Hindi Chetavani, right, to the people of India. So let's look at, now this is Raigad Fort in Maharashtra, and this is the entrance to the palace where Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was crowned as the king, as the Maratha king in 1674. I'll tell you one interesting story about this. It's going to be a lot of storytelling. You are going to really enjoy. I'm not teaching you history. I'm just telling you lots of stories, so you will enjoy it that much more. And that started the formal beginning of the Maratha Empire when he was crowned king in the year 1674. Okay. Now, these are some of the questions that will be answered in this particular chapter. Look at this time scale, because you will need to remember this time scale, because you could be asked some questions related to the timing part of it as well. Okay. Now, 1630 was when Shivaji Maharaj, when Shivaji Maharaj was born. 1630, remember this date, the date. Now, the interesting part is that 1646, Shivaji's rule actually began when he was 16 years of age. See, his father was essentially a Jagirdar. So 1646 onwards, Shivaji started taking control and attacking nearby territories and increasing the area under the influence, under the control of Shivaji's fathers and the family, right? 1646 onwards, right? But only in 1674 was when he was crowned as the king. So this is something which you need to know, that 1674 was when he was formally crowned king, and with that began the Maratha Empire. But between 1646 and 1674, Chhatrapati Shivaji was essentially seen as a Jagirdar's son, okay, who was trying to increase the territories, right? So in between 1646 and 1674, many incidents took place, and that is what is going to be very interesting. 1680, at the age of 50, only 50, Shivaji Maharaj died. Okay, so he lived only 50 years, but in 50 years, he achieved quite a bit. Okay, now let's first understand, just go back in background and understand who are the Marathas. You know, when we say Marathas, exactly what do we mean by them? Now, Marathas essentially are a group of people who are native to the Deccan Plateau. Deccan Plateau is today's modern day Maharashtra, okay, which is known as the central part of India. That is, if you are looking at the map of India, right, this part is known as the Deccan Plateau. This is where modern day Maharashtra is. This is where Mumbai is, right? So this is where Maharashtra, this is Telangana, this is Andhra, this is Tamil Nadu, this is Kerala, and this middle portion is Karnataka, right? So this middle portion, which covers both Maharashtra and parts of Telangana, is known as the Deccan Plateau. Okay. Now, the Marathas were a group of people who used to live in this part of the country. They were identified by the language they spoke. What language did they spoke? Marathi. Marathi, which is one of the most sweet languages that you can hear. Okay. Not just the Ata Maji Satakli. Ata Maji Satakli. So Marathi is a very sweet language. If you hear people speaking Marathi, you cannot stop falling in love with that language. Okay. And it has a very rich and continuous literary history. What exactly do you mean? The historical development, because a lot of interesting writing, poetry, drama, etc. has been written in Marathi. So Marathi literature, Marathi drama is fantastic, right? Marathi theater groups are fantastic. You know, people like Mahesh Manjrekar, Nana Patekar, etc. have done a lot of Marathi theater. So it has very rich Marathi literature since the 12th century. And you have these photographs of two people, especially Sant Tukaram, very famous social reformer, etc. And before him, Sant Ramdas. So you will see that Marathas were generally a very powerful kind of a political entity. Even today in Maharashtra, you will see Maratha leaders are the ones who are seen to be ruling Maharashtra. You know, leaders like Sharad Pawar have a lot of political clout. Okay, of course, the reasons are very different because many of them also control the sugarcane lobby, etc. Though that's politics, right? But what I'm saying is that the Maratha lobby is considered very powerful. Now, during the 13th century, most of Maharashtra was ruled by the Yadav dynasty. Okay, and its capital was Devagiri, which is like present-day Daulatabad. Okay, that is where the capital was. Now, in the early 14th century, the Yadav dynasty was defeated by the Khilji Sultanate from Delhi. The Delhi Sultanate is part of your syllabus in the first chapter already. We have already studied that, the Delhi Sultanate, right? So Khilji defeated the Yadavas in the before the 14th century. Now, if you see here, this is after what? So I want you to see the entire timeline in your textbook, and you see the you will be surprised to see the number of Anglo-Maratha wars, and we'll study that towards the middle of the chapter. That you see, there was the first Anglo-Maratha war fought, which was won by the Marathas. Then before this is the third one, and then there was the Battle of Panipat, which was also fought. And then this is the third Anglo-Maratha war, which ended the power of the Marathas. So basically, the British had to fight the Marathas. The Mughals were completely down by the time the British consolidated themselves, though they came at the time of Jahangir, but it was post-Akbar kind of period. Okay. Now, amidst all these changes, the cultural traditions, that is focus on art and literature, and the Bhakti movement kind of focused on. So between 7th and 17th century, for spiritual upliftment, saints and seekers like Sant Ramdas, Sant Tukaram, they preferred the path of bhakti to mere external ritualism. Rituals is when you're just doing puja part. But more than that, they believed in the path of bhakti, where it is much more of a spiritual connection and not just doing puja part, right? So these saints like Sant Tukaram, Sant Ramdas, coming from different parts of society, they made a lot of devotional songs. And even today, Sant Tukaram's bhajans are sung in Maharashtra, in Marathi, right? So that's what is their influence from that time till today in the 21st century. Now, have you heard the term bhakti? We studied that in class 6, right? So if you go back to your class 6 textbook, you would be able to answer this question, and this can be an activity in your classroom. Now, in Maharashtra, what I said, Dhyaneshwar, Namdev, Tukaram, Ramdas gained popularity. They helped translate several important texts like the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita into Marathi, because when it is in the local language, more people can read it, more people can understand it, more people can appreciate it. That helps kind of spread the message of the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita to a larger population. Otherwise, if it is only in Sanskrit, or let's say only in Hindi, or only in Tamil, only certain population will be able to read and understand it. So some also focused on social organization, political awareness, similar to what the Sikh gurus were doing. So as a result, the society acquired a strong cultural foundation. So Marathi, what makes Maharashtra so special even today is that while they're politically very aware, they are also very culturally very strong. Culturally, they are very, very strong, and that makes it a very vibrant kind of a society. So by the 17th century, some Maratha chiefs made early attempts that we should have our own kingdom. Instead of having these separate Jagidars and Zamindars occupying different parts of the Deccan Plateau, let's have a consolidated Maratha empire. And that's when Chhatrapati Shivaji entered the scene. He was the one who brought the Marathas together. So we will need to understand who exactly was Shivaji. Okay. Jagir is a piece of land given by a king or ruler to someone, which could be a noble or a soldier, as a reward. One such Jagirdar was Shivaji's father, right? The person who got the Jagir, he could collect taxes from the land and use the money to take care of the needs or help the king when needed. So this is the definitions. Whatever definitions are given, please ensure that you read it and understand it. So as I said, some of the dates that you need to remember: 1630, the year Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj was born. Please remember this date. 1646 is when his rule began. 1674 is when he was crowned king, and he remained king only for 6 years, because in 1680 is when he died at the age of 50. So these 4 dates you need to remember for sure: 1630, 1646, 1674, and 1680. Am I clear? Now, he was born to the Bhosle clan. Clan means family of Shaji and Jijabai. Jijabai was the mother of Chhatrapati Shivaji. Now, at that time, Shaji served the Deccan Sultanate and was often away from his family. In his Jagir at Pune, Shivaji grew up under the watchful eyes of Jijabai and some trusted officials, receiving values and a good education. At this time, the Pune region was deeply affected. There was constant infighting between the different Deccan sultans, who were served by the Marathas, were serving the Deccan sultans. So when he was just 16 years old, that is 1646, Shivaji started launching military campaigns. So he wanted to consolidate his hold over not just the Jagir of his father, but occupying more territories, taking over, capturing neglected and unoccupied forts, strengthening their defenses. So your area becomes bigger, because he wanted to ensure that we will establish a Maratha empire. So he called it Swarajya, okay, extending to a political, economic, and cultural aspects, which we will explore in this chapter. So his vision was that there should be an independent Maratha kingdom, apna khud ka Swarajya hoga, right? And that is what his vision was for the people of that region. This is what is the Sindhudurg fort near the Maharashtra-Goa border, is one of the several fortifications built by the Marathas. Okay. Now, Shivaji's kingdom soon expanded to India's west coast, along the entire west coast of India. This is the west coast. So this is the entire coast where Shivaji's domination extended. Because to secure access to the resources of the coastal regions, he felt the need that we need to have a navy. Because right at the beginning of the chapter, I've told you, all the Portuguese, English, French, Danish, Dutch, everybody, they had good naval power. So he thought we also need to have a navy to be able to protect and fight the enemy forces. In comparison, the Bijapur Sultanate, which was ruled by the Adil Shahi dynasty. Have you gone to Bijapur? I've gone. No, there is this beautiful monument out there. Beautiful city, right? I've traveled a lot in Maharashtra. Bijapur, Sholapur, Kolhapur, previously called, Aurangabad, which is now Sambhajinagar, Pune, of course, Nagpur, briefly, Mumbai, of course. So quite a bit of Maharashtra. Chandrapur, which is bordering Telangana, I have visited. In comparison, the Bijapur Sultanate, ruled by the Adil Shahi dynasty, it maintained merchant ships but did not possess a full-time naval force. So they had merchant ships, that is, which were doing trade, but they did not have a navy. Navy is for defense and for attacking. Merchant ships is only for doing trade. So they did not have a navy which could protect the entire coast. And even the Mughals did not use much of a navy. So this is something new that Shivaji Maharaj actually did. So that's how the Maratha Navy was born. And if you get a question that why and what did he do, so you could answer from this particular paragraph. Now what he did was he used guerrilla warfare. Now what is guerrilla warfare? It's essentially using small groups. I explained this in the previous chapter also. Small groups in a focused manner. You move in quickly, attack, and move back even before they can retaliate, right? So you get the advantage of a surprise attack. The people, they're resting at this time of the night. You attack them, take them by surprise, kill them, vanquish them, whatever, and get out before they can also, get their act together or start firing themselves. So because he was being successful in defeating bigger enemies, the Bijapur Sultanate of the Adil Shahi dynasty was not happy with Shivaji. So they sent Afzal Khan to fight Shivaji. Now, this is an extremely interesting story. The Afzal Khan versus Shivaji Maharaj story, the war. So Shivaji and his advisors, they convinced Afzal Khan to meet him on a one-to-one, that only you and I will meet. Okay. So Afzal Khan thought, what do I have to be scared of this little boy? I will go and meet. So they met in the Pratapgarh forest. Okay, the forest area near the Pratapgarh fort. There, Shivaji Maharaj killed Afzal Khan. Now, this is one of the most popular stories concerning Shivaji Maharaj, right? And the Marathas who were hiding in the mountains, they kind of attacked Afzal Khan's army in a guerrilla attack. They took them by surprise. So this is again something which you would need. There is another very interesting aspect about it, that how did he kill him? He killed him using this kind of a weapon. This was known as the Vagh Nak. Okay, that is a tiger's claw. The claw of a tiger. You see, it's like a tiger's claw. So he went and stabbed him there with using the tiger claw, and that's how Afzal Khan was killed. So you should write. I mean, this is a very interesting question, that if you could go back in time, what are the 3 questions that you would like to ask Shivaji, right? You should do this activity in school. If there are any teachers listening to this video, please conduct this activity. After you have finished explaining the entire chapter, ask the students to come up with interesting, out-of-the-box kind of questions. Okay. Now, guerrilla warfare, I've explained to you about organizations like the LTTE, which would use this kind of guerrilla tactics in order to hit the Sri Lankan army. Now, soon after that, the Mughal nobleman Shaista Khan, because they thought, oh my God, this man has killed Afzal Khan. So the Mughal nobleman Shaista Khan, he attacked Shivaji's territories. Shivaji, remember, was still not the Maratha king. Okay, with a big army for 3 years. 3 years they fought each other, and finally, with only a few soldiers, Shivaji raided Shaista Khan's camp at night. Again, a guerrilla attack. Shaista Khan managed to escape. He lost a few fingers in the fighting that happened, and he left Maharashtra. And this was like, today's surgical strike. Surgical strike is, again, when you take a military attack, where you damage a specific target and you take them by surprise. You don't do any other damage to any other property. You say that, okay, this is what we need to target. We target that and get out of that place. Okay, so that was the way he did neutralize Shaista Khan. Now, as a retaliatory action for the 3-year-long wave of attacks, Shivaji, what he did was, because for 3 years, Shaista Khan was attacking Shivaji. So Shivaji decided to take revenge. Once Shaista Khan was out, then he decided to attack Surat. Where is Surat? Surat is in modern day Gujarat. Okay. Why did he attack it? Because it was a wealthy port city. Surat is on the Gujarat coast. It was a wealthy port city of the Mughal Empire. Okay. Now there, because he attacked, he managed to obtain an enormous wealth, treasure of almost 1 crore rupees, an extremely big sum for that amount, for that time, obviously, right? But what he did was, what Shivaji took care was, he did not attack any religious places, be it of any religion. He also spared, he did not attack the house of Mohandas Parekh, who was a charitable man who used to do charity. Then after a few years, he again attacked Surat. And these events of Shivaji's attack on Surat, one, he was already famous for the way he killed Afzal Khan, then for the way he defeated Shaista Khan, and now for the way he attacked Surat again. He became so famous that his name appeared even in the London Gazette newspaper, okay, which wrote about how Shivaji told all the European diplomats from England, from France, from Denmark, from Holland, from Portugal that they should give him immediate presence of money, otherwise he will ruin Surat city, right? So he told them that if you want your city not to be destroyed by me, you need to pay me this kind of money. So he was kind of able to put pressure on the different European diplomatic agents in Surat. The sacking of Surat, because Surat was under the control of the Mughals. So the Mughals obviously felt very angry. So then came Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb, what did he do? He sent Jai Singh. I hope you are enjoying this story. This is just being told as a story. Sent Jai Singh, who was a Rajput. Remember, right from the time of Akbar, many Rajputs used to have this collaboration with the Mughals. They used to be in his court, etc. So Jai Singh was sent by Aurangzeb to defeat Shivaji. Okay. And he did manage to, because Shivaji conceded defeat. He admitted defeat near Pune at Purandar Fort. Okay. Purandar Fort, near that, Shivaji was defeated and he had to enter into a friendship treaty. And he had to give up a large part of his kingdom. And his son, Sambhaji, you know this movie called Chhawa, which was made with Vicky Kaushal. That was in Sambhaji Maharaj. So son Sambhaji Maharaj had to enter Mughal service. Then Shivaji was told by Jai Singh that you come to the Mughal court in Agra, where he was made to stand. So Aurangzeb kind of humiliated him by making him stand in front of him, right? Because a Mughal general, I mean, Shivaji had defeated them in Surat. So for Shivaji, it was an insult because he was made to stand in front of Aurangzeb and he felt very insulted. And Shivaji said, I'm getting out of the court, and he walked out of the Agra court. Aurangzeb did not agree to that. He got Shivaji arrested. He put him under house arrest, and then Shivaji thought of a plan. What he did was he started distributing gifts, okay, to different holy men and Mughal generals, basically in order to keep them happy. And what were these gifts? These gifts were largely fruits and sweets, and he would put them in big baskets. Okay, the guards would initially check all these gift packets, but then they realized that this person is only giving gifts, etc. So they stopped checking. One day, when he realized that the guards were not being very careful and vigilant, Sambhaji and Shivaji, they hid themselves in the baskets and escaped from Agra. Aurangzeb could never arrest Shivaji after that. So this is the story of Shivaji versus Aurangzeb. You know, two people who were there at the same time, and yet while once Aurangzeb managed to kind of overpower Shivaji, but once he escaped Agra, he never managed to arrest him again. This is a court scene with Shivaji on the throne that you can see on the right hand side receiving visitors. This is in Shivaji Maharaj Park in Mumbai. Now in 1674, what did I tell you what happened in 1674? Shivaji was coronated as the king at Raigad Fort, right? So in Raigad Fort, his formal title was Sri Raja Shiva Chhatrapati. So Sri Raja Shiva Chhatrapati was the title of Shivaji after he was crowned as king, and he started his own era called the Rajya Abhisheka Shakha. So after this, Shivaji embarked on a conquest of the south. So he decided that let me control some territories in the southern part of the country, and he called it Dakshina Digvijaya. Digvijaya means big victory. Dakshina means south, which included all the important and then ill-defended region of present-day northern Tamil Nadu and parts of Karnataka. Northern Tamil Nadu, the place that was kind of controlled was Vellore. Okay, I've spoken about Vellore Fort in an earlier video also. Okay, now this southern extension gave Marathas some strength in this southern part of the country, and you know, they thought that okay, there is some portion which they can control beyond Maharashtra, modern day Maharashtra. So while he was in the southern part, now in the southern part, the Dutch, from Holland, they were very influential. They had some colonies in that part of South India. So Shivaji told the Dutch that you cannot trade slaves, that you cannot make human beings into slave, because what Europeans were doing at that time, they were kind of arresting, capturing Indians, and they were selling them as slaves to some European, where you have to live as bonded labor all your life, right? And the Indian Rajas never objected, but Shivaji objected, saying that you cannot do this, right? And basically, it shows that he was against this kind of abuse of human beings. He wanted every human being to have dignity, but you arrest and capture some Indian and make him a slave for life. That was not acceptable to Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Now, if you see this particular map, okay, I am not talking about the accuracy of the map, because ever since this book has been published, there have been some reports coming in different newspapers that people have objected to the accuracy of the map. I'm not getting into that. But this, as per this book, it gives you an idea about the extent of Shivaji Maharaj's territory. So all that area which is there in orange, right? This is Raigad. This is to the southwest of Pune. This is Mumbai. Then you have, this is Kolhapur, which I mentioned a little while ago. This is Koppal. Koppal is in modern day Karnataka. I have been there, Karnataka. And in the southern part of India, basically North Tamil Nadu, which I spoke about, Vellore and Jinji. This is Puducherry. Okay. This is Tanjavur. This is where he controls. So the territory under Shivaji Maharaj is all the territory which is marked in orange, right? Then there is a territory under Ekoji, which is the gray color area, right? All the yellow color areas like Puducherry here, Goa here, Goa was controlled by Portuguese, right? Which were under foreign control. Now, at the age of 50 is when Shivaji Maharaj died. Now, let me tell you one interesting thing about Vellore, because Shivaji was never imprisoned in Vellore, but his family members were imprisoned in Vellore, right? Because after the Battle of Raigad, which was fought in 1689, that is after Shivaji's death. Let me finish Shivaji's death and then I will get into that story. Shivaji Maharaj, obviously known as a great strategist, because he managed to fight many battles and spread the extent of the Maratha Empire before he turned 50, which is why to this date, Chhatrapati Maharaj, Shivaji Maharaj is considered so legendary, which is why Europeans compared him to Alexander. And the Bundela prince Chhatrasal was so inspired by Shivaji's struggle that he managed to create an independent kingdom of Bundelkhand, which is in present-day Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh. In between that, the areas around Jhansi, Orcha, etc. And the famous Hindi poet Bhushan came to Maharashtra to meet Shivaji and composed poems in his praise, which are even till date famous. Now, I will tell you. So there was this Battle of Raigad, which was fought in 1689. That is 15 years after Shivaji Maharaj's death. That's when the Mughals defeated the Marathas, and many members of Shivaji's family, including his children, they were captured and sent to Vellore Fort as prisoners by Emperor Aurangzeb. So therefore, it became an important prison site. Vellore Fort, if any of you have gone, in fact, I went, when did I go? I went in the month of May. Yeah, May I went to Vellore. I saw the fort at that time. So Vellore Fort, of course, later on during British mutiny, etc. The first Vellore mutiny took place before 1857. It took place in 1806. So the Vellore Fort is a very important historical landmark as far as India's history is concerned. Now let's look at the post-Shivaji period. What happened to the Marathas post-Shivaji, right? Shivaji had two sons, Sambhaji and Rajaram. They were from two wives, so they were like half brothers. Okay, Sambhaji and Rajaram. So after Shivaji's death, Sambhaji became the Chhatrapati. And Marathas, at that time, for the Mughals, the Marathas were the only obstacle. Otherwise, the Mughals thought they can control the entire country, right? Because these people were in the heart of India, controlling Deccan and some part of South India. So what Aurangzeb did was, he invaded the Deccan region and conquered Bijapur, which was earlier Adil Shahi dynasty, or Golconda, the Qutub Shahi dynasty. Golconda is present-day Hyderabad region, Sultanate. Bijapur is in Karnataka, northern Karnataka. And he then captured Sambhaji, right? Chava movie, of course, a little, they have taken some cinematic liberties, but that's the story of Sambhaji Maharaj. And he executed a very brutal torture. And then he Aurangzeb captured Raigad, which was the capital of the Maratha Empire. So this is what happened as far as post-Shivaji period was concerned. But what happened was, after Sambhaji's execution, Rajaram, who was his his half brother, another son of Shivaji. He became the Chhatrapati and he escaped to Jinji, which is in the southern part of the country in Tamil Nadu, that is below Vellore. And the Mughal Maratha conflict continued in southern part of India, and the Marathas defended their fortresses, had the upper hand. But Aurangzeb, because he was obsessed with defeating the Marathas. So Aurangzeb never left the Deccan Plateau, which is why, do you know something very interesting? Where did Aurangzeb die? See, Aurangzeb had a city named after him, Aurangabad, right? Which is now Sambhaji Nagar. Sambhaji named after Shivaji's son. Aurangzeb died in Aurangabad. His grave is in Aurangabad or Sambhaji Nagar right now. He could not go back because he was obsessed with the idea of defeating the Marathas, right? So he was never able to leave the Deccan and died without having succeeded in subduing the Marathas, who emerged, even though he put many of them in custody in Vellore Fort. And later on, after Rajaram died of natural illnesses in the year 1700. Okay, and after Rajaram, his son, who was called Shivaji II, he was announced as the king, and Rajaram's queen Tarabai, she took charge of leading the Marathas for some time. And during this rapid expansion, the Marathas themselves underwent a structural transformation. The centralized state from Shivaji's time gave way to a more decentralized structure. That is, it was not controlled by one person. Many powerful chieftains started coming out. And what happened was, though they were all kind of saying, Chhatrapati Maharaj, whoever the Maharaj was, but all these chieftains started exercising a lot of power. They were known as the Peshwas. Peshwa is a Persian term for prime minister. Prime minister in Persian is known as the Peshwa. And they were so powerful that they could even overrule what the Chhatrapati Maharaj would say. Especially people like Peshwa Bajirao 1, there is Bajirao 2 also later on, his son Nana Sahib Peshwa. They were all instrumental in expanding the Maratha Empire in the post-Shivaji period. The Marathas brought several parts of India under their control and ruled over them. And all these regional chiefs started kind of exercising a lot of power. And the Marathas 10-day campaign, for example, Marathas even went and attacked Bengal, right? And they did a lot of cruelty in Bengal, which was against the values of Shivaji. Shivaji, remember, he was even against anybody being used as bonded labor. So he was completely against common people being abused and, any harm being done to the common people. So there were all this kind of problems which also arose in the post-Shivaji period. In their northward expansion, when they also started looking at north in order to fight the Mughals, they controlled the areas up to Lahore, which is in Pakistan, Attock, and even Peshawar, all in modern-day Pakistan. They fought with the Afghans, okay, even though they were defeated in the Panipat battle in 1761. They quickly recovered during the time of Peshwa Madhavrao I, and under the leadership of Mahaji Shinde, who was also known as Mahaji Scindia, they went on to recapture Delhi in 1771, which remained in their control till the British captured it 3 decades later. That is, in 1801, the British captured it again, right? By the time the Mughals were completely weak. So you realize that the Marathas were big takeaway is that the Marathas were the big competitors, adversaries, enemies of the Mughals. So they fought the maximum number of battles. So the Marathas, like the Mughals wanted to control, they also wanted to control territory. So they went east to Bengal, they went south to Tamil Nadu, they went north till Lahore and Peshawar. So they also tried to conquer many parts of India. 3 Anglo-Maratha wars were fought between 1775 and 1818, and the British managed to finally subdue the Maratha power and end it completely. And the British took India from the Marathas more than from the Mughals or any other power. Basically to say that by the time, by the 18th century, the Mughals had become very weak. Post Aurangzeb, the Mughals were very weak, right? The Marathas were seen as the competitors to the British. By the time the British started consolidating themselves, the East India Company, about which we will study in the next chapter. Okay. So if you see the Maratha Empire, now again, I'm not saying that this map is completely accurate. I'm not saying that, but as per this map given, you get an idea about the spread of the Maratha Empire. That is the entire north region, the western region, the Deccan Plateau, the entire what is today's Maharashtra, etc., and some parts of southern India, right? So that is what was controlled by the Maratha Empire in the year 1759. Okay. Did you know that Nana Fadnavis, a powerful official under the Peshwas, is credited with organizing the first pan-Indian anti-British alliance? Okay, so Nana Fadnavis, again, see, a lot of names are there which you would need to remember also from a one-mark question point of view. He even united with adversaries like Hyder Ali of Mysore, who was before Tipu Sultan, and the Nizam of Hyderabad in this endeavor. So basically, to consolidate people against the British is what something like Nana Fadnavis did under the Peshwas. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is to pause this video here because it's a lot of information. I want you to process this. I will do the rest of the chapter in the second explanation video where we will be talking about what kind of administration was there under the Marathas. I'll see you in the next video. Share the video with your batchmates and friends and definitely subscribe to the channel because unless you support me in this endeavor, there is really no fun in doing all these detailed explanation videos. Tata, bye-bye. Thank you very much. Namaskar.